Will former Bellator champion Patricio Pitbull Freire have a successful UFC debut against Yair Rodriguez? See who fighters are picking in the latest edition of MMA Pros Pick.
Yair, I think that fight's going to be a lot of him tagging Patricio and doing all that fancy, aesthetically beautiful footwork he does. And yeah, I think he'll get a finish.
Ooh, yeah. That's going to be a tough one, I think, for the both of them, honestly. I'm going to go with Yair, just because I think Yair's a little bit younger. I know he's not as experienced, and Pitbull's beat some really good guys, but I think Pitbull has had a lot of fights now. I don't really know how old he is, but I know I've been watching Pitbull for a long time, so I'll go with Yair.
I'm going Pitbull, again, being biased, but I'm really excited to see how he does in the UFC. He was pound for pound one of the best guys at one point, and I don't think I still think he's got a lot in the tank, and that's a very interesting matchup. So that's a great card too. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, really, really interesting fight. I've got Yair Rodriguez in that one. Patricio, obviously a stud, had his reign in Bellator for a long time. But I think it is tough going, especially like circumstances like Michael Chandler going to the UFC and getting thrown into these big fights immediately. Not to say that he's not going to be ready and be prepared to do it, but Yair Rodriguez is a really interesting guy, and unorthodox striking and like you saw with the zombie fight, the crazy spinning elbow and all that. So if I had to bet my life on it right now, I'd say Yair Rodriguez.
Man, I got Yair. He's really good at using his style at picking and pulling, and I believe every time that anybody that kind of crashes, he's really good at catching them in submissions or angling out and picking them apart. So I got Yair on that one.
Honestly, from that whole card, that's one of my favorite fights. I think it's a really, really good fight. It's a tough fight, definitely. People can't count on Pitbull. I feel like just because they think he was in Bellator means he's going to be an easy fight. But no, Pitbull is a really legit opponent. But I think... Yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely a tough one. I think if Yair uses his range and he can get it done. But I don't know. I honestly have... Even before you asked me, like I was kind of watching them. I'm like, I can't pick anybody. I think it all depends who shows up. If they show up like their true versions of themselves that day.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because you hear all these crazy rumors about Yair, like he doesn't care anymore. He doesn't train hard anymore. And if that's true, then I would say Patricio will win because Patricio's an absolute killer. But Yair is so special, man. He's super talented, super fast, very dynamic on the feet, good submissions. It's a tough one to call. I'm going to go Yair because I think he's longer. That's in Mexico City, right? That card is at
No. That's Miami, 214.
Miami. Yeah, I'll go Yair. I think Patricio's a little bit older. Speed is going to be a big disadvantage for him, and he's kind of smaller for the division. He's fought at 35 before, I know, so I'll go Yair.
I still see Yair Rodriguez winning that fight because he's just a wild guy, man. He's one of those guys like he's hard to track down because he's constantly moving, throwing flying knees, spinning shit. I just and I also think that Pitbull, I don't know. I think he's on the older side because he was talking about if he didn't get signed to the UFC, he was gonna retire. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Yair.
No, of course I got to pick Yair. Yair's movement and his length and the way he uses his kicks, it's like, it's unique even just in general in the sport of MMA. Like Wonder Boy does, a similar job, or MVP as far as like distance from afar, but Yair is unique in the sense that like he throws like a lot of flashy kicks and different stuff that actually ends up working. So, how do you train for that if you don't have somebody to mimic that? And even if you have somebody that's close, it's not the same thing as what you're going to see from him. So I don't see how he's going to be able to close the distance and try to, get a hold of him or take him down, because especially from like that karate stance, just head's kind of up out in the open. And, if you're really good at hopping in and out, maybe you can get away with doing that, as long as your feet are fast and you're really aware of where stuff's coming from. But if the guy's got a weird style of striking that you're not used to, and he's longer than you, it's going to be really hard to anticipate where the shot's coming from. So he's either going to have to shell up a little bit more or be more traditional, which is going to open up more kicks for Yair and make him a little bit slower, or he's going to have to bite down and just take that risk and possibly get caught with something big on the way in.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think that Yair, when he's hot and he gets cooking, he can really cook. When he gets going and gets in his rhythm, we've seen him, and it really, we got to see how Pitbull adjusts. Pitbull's been around a long time, man. He's a tough guy, but he's not very big, and he doesn't have a long reach at all. And it's not going to be easy for him at distance. I think he's going to have to get the fight to the ground, where Yair is, not as dynamic. But I don't know if he'll be able to do that. So that's going to be the interesting thing there. I don't think he wants to stand with Yair at range. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how that fight plays out. But Yair, man, he's really dangerous. I don't know what the odds are, but I would see him being the favorite. And Pitbull's a little bit older now, so I guess people really kind of just want to see where he is and how his feet move when he hits the big lights. I mean, people can say whatever they want, but the UFC is just different, man. When those lights hit, it's just, there's no brighter lights. So we'll see how he adjusts.
Super intrigued. I think Yair's the hardest kicker in any division, pound for pound. So I think his reach makes a difference. I'm thinking Yair.
Bro, I don't know how people is gonna come in and how he does, because Yair is wild, man. So I'm definitely, I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna go with Yair. I'm gonna stick with Yair just because he's been in the UFC for a longer time, but. Man, people is still out there.
That's a bad boy fight, that, isn't it? Yeah. I like that fight, man. I'll be interested to watch. Is that on Miami as well? Is it Miami?
That's Miami, yeah. That card's stacked. Yeah, that fight's on there too.
Yeah, man, that'd be sick. I'd say I like Rodriguez in that fight, man. I think he's very dynamic in that, the way he throws all the different kicks and elbows and, spinning attacks. So that would be good. But Pitbull's, a veteran, and he's got the tools as well, got the power as well. So it's an interesting fight.
Who would you give the edge to? I think Yair is the favorite going in. Do you think that's
I'll
the right call?
I'll give the edge to Yair, man. Because how dynamic he is. So I'll give the edge to Yair. But whatever happens, that's going to be a banger of a fight.
That's a tough one. Yair's so fast. He kicks so quickly. The dexterity of his kicks are nuts. Patricky's a little older in his career, but man, he's still so good. His positioning so good. I see Yair taking it. I think Yair will be a little hungry coming off the Ortega loss.
Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. I think I don't know. I think Yair kind of has it seems like he's kind of lost his step a little bit, and Pitbull is one of those guys that just knocks everybody out. So that's interesting, but I think I gotta go with Pitbull.
That's a close fight in my opinion, but I think Yair's gonna win. He lost to Volk in the wrestling. He lost to Ortega also on the ground. I think he's gonna make the improvements, and I think that's the best path for Patricio to win. Take the fight to the ground, and I don't think Yair gonna let him do that because he's probably training a lot for that. So I think Yair's gonna win. His striking is phenomenal, and I think it's gonna be a problem for Patricio. So I'm gonna go with Yair.
That's a tough UFC debut, huh? I think Yair might have the edge with the range and all the tricky things he does there. So, but it should be exciting. It's a nice little mix up into the division there, and to have someone else come from a different organization who did well over there too. But I have Yair.
That'll be an interesting matchup. Obviously, they're both very well-rounded, but I guess you could say both of them are more known for their devastating striking. Yair Rodriguez mainly with his kicks, Pitbull mainly with his hands. So yeah, that'll be a very, very interesting fight. I'm really up in the air on who would win that one. Very up in the air, but Rodriguez with his kicking style and stuff like this, maybe Pitbull will be able to close the difference. So I actually have to admit, I'll probably be leaning more towards Pitbull.
I think Patricio has the experience and the skill for beat everybody in this division. he the people think he looking like he's small for the division, but bro, he's so explosive. He knows how to play big guys, and the guys kick a lot for him. He's fine for him. The guy gonna kick him because he have power hands and strong hands, and I think it's a good match for him. Yeah, Rodriguez for sure.